Lightning Motorcycle Troubleshooting. If you're looking for help fixing your Lightning motorcycle, look no further. Our comprehensive Lightning Motorcycle Troubleshooting Guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and show you how to read your model's error codes. Inspect the wires and their connections. An electric bike is made up of several parts, all of which require a continual supply of power to work correctly. How does that supply of power get from the battery to wherever it's needed? Through a network of wires that run throughout the bike like veins, and the electrical connectors that connect them to each component. So, when you're trying to find out what's wrong with your electric bike, grab a flashlight and inspect every inch of wiring you can find. What you're looking for are cut or damaged wires. Those will need to be spliced together or replaced entirely. In some cases, you may even find burnt or melted wires, which is a sign that there's too much power going through them. Check the controller. Check your controller for any wires that are disconnected or not connected properly. If there is a disconnected wire, check to make sure it goes into the correct outlet by matching up the color of the wire with the color of the outlet and reconnecting it. If the wire isn't color coded, then you'll need to use trial and error to check which slot the wire should go into. If the speed controller does not work, the first thing you should check, of course, is the power switch. Make sure that it is turned on. You should check the fuse or circuit breaker. If the electric bike uses a fuse, check the inside of the fuse to see if it is burned out. The fuse may have to be removed from the scooter and held up to the source of light to determine if it is burned out or not. For scooters that use a circuit breaker, push on or flip the circuit breaker to see if it will reset. Electric bicycles with single-speed throttles will sometimes have to be pushed forward so that they may run. Pedal on the electric bicycle while you fully engage the throttle. As soon as the electric bicycle reaches walking speed and the throttle is engaged, the electric should run until the throttle is released or the brake is used. Check the rear axle motor connection. If the wires that connect to the rear hub motor, if your e-bike has one, check that the connection isn't frayed or damaged in some way. If the wires are cut, then you'll need to rewire your e-bike, and an electric bike specialist shop will be able to help you with this. Look for any burned or melted wires or wire connectors attached to the rear hub motor. Burned or melted wires or wire connectors indicate overheating of the motor, which could cause the plastic insulation to melt off the motor's electromagnetic copper wire windings. Smell the motor for any burned plastic smells. If the motor smells burned, it indicates that its coils have been overheated. Motors with overheated coils should always be replaced to prevent damage to the controller. If the insulation melts off the copper windings, they will short-circuit and cause the motor to not run or run slowly. Short-circuited windings could also burn out the controller by giving it too much resistance, which makes it work too hard and overheat. Check the CHAINSTAY motor connection. To ensure the issue with your e-bike not working properly isn't simply a wire being disconnected. First, check the motor connection on the chainstay, which is the part of the frame where your chain is. This is a simple connection that all rear hub motor mount e-bikes share and is an easy fix if it is the issue. Also, make sure that the chain or belt is properly installed. Inspect the chain or belt to make sure that it is properly installed onto both the motor sprocket or cog and the rear wheel sprocket or cog. If the motor and chain or belt spin when the throttle is applied but the rear wheel does not move, the problem is a defective rear wheel freewheel clutch mechanism. If the motor spins when the throttle is applied but the chain or belt and rear wheel do not move, the problem is either a chain or belt that has fallen off, a belt that is not tensioned properly, or a cog and sprocket that is missing or damaged. Chains and sprockets are going to eventually wear out and need to be replaced. It is difficult to determine how long a chain will last because it depends on the usage of the electric bike. Source: electricbikecity.com